Here's the number: $75,000 and approximated at $10 billion. With a B. Instead, viewers were left with a fake version of her answer, which was doctored to such an extent that the meaning of the answer was fundamentally altered in order to make her seem concise and intelligent, which she is not. Because of CBS's false, misleading, and deceptive conduct, President Trump has sustained damages in an amount greater than $75,000 and reasonably believed to be at least $10 billion. President Trump sues CBS News for $10 billion. That's a lot of money. And I hope he gets it, every penny of it. You can see there's a 19-pager that just got dropped, fresh out of the oven. President Trump against CBS Broadcasting. We're going to read through the lawsuit and see how much money he should be expecting here. I hope it's a lot, because this was election interference. It's CBS, who's on the public airwaves, who is manipulating a story in order to benefit a political friendly and hurt a political opponent, and they're dishonest in their process. Now, here is the clip that we're talking about. We remember this vividly because it was such a disaster, but we have on top what Kamala Harris said, and some intern made a bonehead mistake somewhere, posted the actual full video, then they deleted it or made a change before it went live. And here's what it looked like.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
Okay, much better the second time. Clipped out that whole rambling thing of, well, we caused some movements in the region that caused movements to happen, which we caused. Fixed it, edited it to make her look much better than she is. Totally dishonest. It's out of 1984, the Ministry of Truth. That is what's happening. And the journalists, so-called, are a part of it. And so now Trump is suing, and he wants $10 billion in damages, and we're hoping he gets it. Here's the number: $75,000, because it's greater than that amount, in damages. Got to be over that amount to be in federal court. And approximated at $10 billion. With a B. Let's get every penny from CBS. They don't have that much, but that's too bad. So here's what Trump said. President Trump versus CBS News. They say, all right, look, this action concerns CBS's so-called news agencies' partisan and unlawful acts of election and voter interference through malicious, deceptive, and substantial news distortion that was calculated to confuse, deceive, and mislead the public in an attempt to tip the scales in favor of the Democratic Party as the heated 2024 presidential election emerges upon us. And Trump is leading, by the way. And that subjects CBS News, filed in Texas. Ooh, that's fun. CBS News violates Texas business and commercial code laws, which say it is illegal to provide false, misleading, or deceptive acts in trade or commerce. And so Texas law says you can't do that. From the moment the Democratic Party establishment ousted Joe Biden, says Trump, in an unprecedented and anti-democratic political coup, and since he installed Kamala as their replacement, which of course ignored the will of their primary voters, who cast 0 votes for Kamala, CBS News and other legacy media organizations have gone into overdrive to get Kamala elected. Notwithstanding Kamala's well-documented, deep unpopularity, even with her own party, these media organizations have tried to falsely recast her as the candidate of joy, whitewashed her lengthy record of policy failures, and painted over her repeated disqualifying gaffes. However, even with aid from the Fourth Estate, the media, Kamala's campaign has been unable to conceal embarrassing weaknesses about her, including her habit of uttering, quote, word salad, which are jumbles of exceptionally incoherent speech that have drawn disapproval even from dyed-in-the-wool Democratic commentators like Van Jones, David Axelrod, and mainstream media contributors. They give us the examples. CNN talked about it, Breitbart's got a clip, Fox News has a clip. Everybody says Kamala bumbles all over herself. To paper over Kamala's word salad weakness, CBS CBS used its national platform on 60 Minutes to cross the line from exercising judgment in reporting to deceitful, deceptive manipulation of the news. On October 5th and 6th, CBS News aired two different versions of its 60 Minutes interview with Kamala. Bill Whitaker conducted the interview. In both versions of the interview, we'll call them the October 5th version and the October 6th version, Whitaker asks Kamala about Benjamin Netanyahu. Whitaker says to Kamala, he says, but it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening. Now, in the October 5th version that we listened to, Kamala replies with her typical word salad. She says, well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in several movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region, which means I think it's like we wanted stuff to happen and so stuff happened, is like what she said. In October 6th version, they're like, oh crap, we gotta make an edit. They call their editing team. Then they air another version. Kamala appears to reply with a completely different and a more succinct answer, saying, we are not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end. Wow, doesn't even sound anything like that at all. Totally different. Millions of Americans, including residents of Texas and this district, were confused and they were misled by the two doctored interview versions. Trump commented on the matter. He wrote about it on Truth Social. He says, in normal times, what happened on 60 Minutes, which was deceptively doctoring her answers, would be the end of anyone's campaign. Says Kamala is slow, incoherent, and in no way qualified to be the president of the United States. Release the tapes for the good of America. Trump says we can do it the nice way or the hard way. And now we're filing a lawsuit, baby. Says on October 20th, 2024, attempting unsuccessfully to stop the bad press, but without providing transparency. Then CBS came out with a statement. They conceded that President Trump was accurate in his assertion that the interview was doctored to confuse, deceive, and mislead in order to try and interfere in the election. I don't think they would agree with that. Let's see what their official statement is. They say, okay, Trump is accusing 60 Minutes of deceitful editing. 60 Minutes gave an excerpt of our interview to Face the Nation that used a longer section of her answer than that on 60 Minutes. Same question, same answer, but a different portion of the response, right? So it's actually a different aired answer. When we edit any interview, whether a politician or athlete or whatever, we strive to be clear. The portion of her answer on 60 Minutes was more succinct, which allows time for other subjects because it was only 21 minutes. And they say, and by the way, Trump didn't even show up for an interview. At least she showed up. Our long-standing invitation to Trump remains. They want him to come so they can interview him and edit him adversely, the opposite of how they interviewed her. But they do admit there that they did make a change and that the answers were ultimately different. As President Trump stated, and as made crystal clear in the video, he said a giant fake news scam by CBS in 60 Minutes. He says her real answer was crazy or dumb, so they actually replaced it with another answer in order to save her or at least make her look better. A fake news scam, he said, which is totally illegal. Take away CBS's license. It's fake propaganda. Why should they have a public license? Election interference, says she's a moron, and the fake news media wants to hide that fact. An unprecedented scandal here. The Dems got them to do this and should be forced to concede the election. Wow. Question mark. Indeed, it is a matter of public record, says Trump's defense, that CBS cut portions of Kamala's answer to a question about the war in Gaza in its initial broadcast, but later provided an allegedly full transcript of her remarks online. The next day, Trump's lawyers demanded via a letter that CBS immediately release the full unedited transcript of the interview. So they sent a letter, release the full thing. And Trump sent that letter. Here's what it looks like. We write on behalf of our client, President Trump. We know this was doctored in order to mislead the American people. You cut portions of this. And so now you have intentionally misled the public by broadcasting a skillfully edited interview while opting to release other portions online. It's manipulation. It's causing confusion. And you have a responsibility to accurately represent the truth of the events. Trump is right that you're doctoring the evidence. And so the executives here are unquestionably aware that the purpose of this edit is to confuse the electorate and to portray Harris in a better light than she is. And so we kindly want you to release these materials now. Signed by Edward Andrew Paltzik, counsel to President Trump. So that went out. Now, instead of doing the right thing, CBS's counsel retreated from the statement. They provided a hasty, weakly worded response letter, love it, stating that CBS would decline to provide an unedited transcript. Nope, sorry. President Trump sent a second letter and another one. Now, CBS remains intransigent even after the Center for American Rights submitted a broadcast distortion complaint against them. Commenting on the complaint, the commissioner said, once trust is lost, it's very difficult to regain. And we agree with that, they say. Rigging or slanting the news is the most heinous act against the public interest. Indeed, there is no act more harmful to the public's ability to handle its affairs, says an FCC complaint. And our mainstream media, which is supposed to be bringing us truth, is not. This rings particularly true, where broadcasters are public trustees. There's only so many airwaves that can be utilized, so many frequencies that you can broadcast on, and they are entrusted to use them appropriately. They've not done that. They have deceived tens of millions of American citizens, and they did it knowingly. Trump is a citizen, CBS is a corrupt media company, and we know who the parties are. They tell us. The idea that CBS edited the interview for time is ridiculous. It's disingenuous. However, this alleged innocent refrain is contradicted by both the facts and the malicious doctoring of the news. You can see their animosity towards President Trump and other Republicans. This is not the first time that CBS has engaged in unethical or unlawful behavior. Their misconduct here is evocative of Dan Rather. Remember him in 2004 when he presented to America 4 forged documents as authentic to try to take out Bush. CBS has recently proven that old habits die hard. They indulge in dishonest reporting about Trump. For example, as reported by Fox News journalist Trace Gallagher during a recent panel discussion, said CBS is now getting slammed again for airing a thinly sourced and false story about Trump disparaging a slain army specialist and refusing to pay her expenses. Remember that? Family came out and said totally false. They just lied. According to CBS's online promotion of 60 Minutes, they say we've been #1 news show in America for 50 years. They say undeniably they do have significant viewership in Texas and nationally, and with that considerable reach causes the ability to do great harm through their reporting. When Bill Whitaker was doing his introduction, he demonstrated his institutional bias against Trump as an attacker against Kamala. They said Kamala Harris has been a candidate for president for just 2.5 months, and the post-convention honeymoon is over. With the election just 29 days away, Harris and her running mate, Tim Walz, he said, face unrelenting attacks from Trump. The transcript contains the following exchange as well. He said, we supply Israel with billions of dollars, and Netanyahu seems to be charting his own course. The Biden, she says, the work that we do diplomatically with the leadership of Israel is an ongoing pursuit around making clear our principles. It's like, what? But it seems that Netanyahu is not listening. The transcript says, we're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary. Got that. The video of the interview also contains the shorter, doctored version, the wrong version, and conspicuously and conveniently missing is her word salad, which they nuked out of there. So now the gravamen of the complaint. They say we also filed an FCC complaint. They said same interview, same question, 2 completely different answers. The complaint directly observed that the interview was an act of significant and substantial news alteration made in the middle of a campaign. Now, although CBS has the right to exercise reasonable judgment in their edits, sure, they crossed the line. It transformed an answer into a fundamentally different answer. Not allowed to do that. They also filed a complaint. It highlighted CBS's deceptive editing, but also its lack of transparency. They have not provided the complete transcript, and they've done that for many other interviews. In fact, the concealment of the transcript is proof of its corrupt and partisan motives. Molly Hemingway commented, said the fact that 60 Minutes is refusing to release the full unedited transcript of its interview with Kamala Harris is a huge scandal. Suggests that much of the entire finished product was manipulative and deceitful, and not just the one horrible example that we covered. As Hemingway observed, CBS's misconduct goes even further than the deceptive editing and the concealment. An additional problem arises from their deception. It is reasonable to infer that other parts of the interview were also edited. And so accordingly, the FCC complaint sought as relief what was necessary to examine the deceit. They wanted the full transcript. The public reactions to the complaint by 2 FCC commissioners also speaks volumes. CBS is hiding its misconduct and its truth, and that is tortious, illegal. And suddenly, this is great, 60 Minutes, when it comes to Kamala Harris, it suddenly became 21 minutes when Kamala was there. Not 60 minutes anymore. Inflation. Neither the FCC complaint nor correspondence from Trump's counsel changed their intransigence about releasing of the transcript. They're still not going to do it. In Trump's first letter, his lawyers made a straightforward and fair demand. Release it. Besides concealing the truth, CBS lacks any justification to decline to release it. Why not? Any news organization should welcome the opportunity to set the record straight. You guys talked to her. Isn't it amazing? Isn't she brilliant? Publish it. So CBS hid behind the predictable and unsubstantiated defense that the interview was edited for time because we only had 21 minutes. And their counsel said, we declined to give you the unedited transcript. Sorry. Now, their explanation that the interview was edited for time defies common sense and logic. Inclusion of the complete, real, and unintelligible version of Kamala's answer would have added at most mere seconds to the interview. It's like 5 seconds of her. Instead, viewers were left with with a fake version of her answer, which was doctored to such an extent that the meaning of the answer was fundamentally altered in order to make her seem concise and intelligent, which she is not. That's true. Indeed, this was not a case in which the edited answer captured the gist of her response. Not at all. It left viewers with two completely different answers, a real one and a fake one. And so this is a violation of Texas law. Not allowed to do it. A consumer may maintain an action where there's a false, misleading, or deceptive practice that's relied upon to the consumer's detriment. Trump is a consumer. He's sought and received CBS's broadcast services, and he's a leading presidential candidate as well. And he stands in the shoes of each Texas voter who's entitled to honest services that are expected from CBS. FCC and their licensees are granted to CBS-owned entities. FCC has stated, rigging or slanting the news is the most heinous act against the public interest. It's true. CBS has failed in its duty to provide these services. They've been false, misleading, deceptive, and acting unconscionably to the detriment of news. They engaged in multiple false, misleading, and deceptive acts. They doctored Kamala's answer to attempt to improve her electoral chances. They tried to damage Trump. They intentionally created the appearance that she gave a concise answer about Benjamin, but she did not, for the same purpose of aiding Kamala and damaging Trump. They also edited her other version to create the appearance that she was articulate, that she's decisive, when in reality, her full answer was a jumbled word salad that harms her electoral chances. Posting the fake version was trying to tip the scales in her favor, and then doubling down and refusing to release an accurate transcript enables the deception to continue. Now, CBS and 60 Minutes, they intentionally misled the public. They posted a carefully edited and deceptively edited video and transcript to manipulate the voters. Organizations like CBS are responsible for accurately representing the truth. They're not supposed to make their preferred candidate appear to be coherent. She is most certainly not. And CBS's actions, through them, we can't tell the truth. Is she concise or not? CBS misled President Trump and would-be voters, millions of Texans. Here, Whitaker's questions to Kamala was of the utmost public significance. It was about foreign policy. It's about war. And Whitaker's question was even more significant because Kamala mostly ducked interviews and other media opportunities. Then CBS further misled and deceived Trump and millions of people in Texas and violated the broadcast distortion policy because the source of Kamala's edited answer in the interview was not Kamala at all. CBS did the editing and they did the confusing. People rely on CBS to not be hacks. The edited broadcast created confusion because that's what CBS intended to do whatever it takes to portray Kamala as intelligent, as someone who's well-informed and confident when in fact she is none of the above. Whereas here, CBS and its employees know the false and deceptive and misleading edits occurred, liability attaches to them. They knew they were doctoring the video. They knew the transcript was intended to confuse the electorate with the edits. Now, put simply, their editorial misconduct here makes them liable under Texas law. And because of CBS's attempts and their brazen attempt to interfere in the 2024 presidential election in unconscionable manner, and because of CBS's false, misleading, and deceptive conduct, President Trump has sustained damages in an amount greater than $75,000 to get us into federal court, and reasonably believed to be at least $10 billion. Trump is also entitled to an order enjoining and stopping CBS from continuing to post the deceptive video and require them to post the full video and give us the unedited transcripts of the video in video and transcript form. Submitted by Trump's defense team, plaintiff's team, really. Edward Andrew Paltzik from Texas and Chris D. Parker signing off on a $10 billion lawsuit. And I hope they get it, every penny. We'll keep our eye on it, of course. Thanks for joining us as we continue to shine the spotlight down on these cases and more. We appreciate you subscribing, and thanks for bringing a friend over here to join us live. And we'll look forward to seeing you and them back here on the next one.